Summoners, welcome back to the Road to Glory qualifier held at the GIGA Internet Cafe in Auckland. My name is Smite, and this time I'm not casting with Crisis today, or not today, but this game, but I am casting with a very missed World of Warcraft ability. It is Cold Blood.
Hello, the ability for rogues where they get 100% crit. Don't ask me how I know that because it's kind of pathetic. Hello, everyone, and as Smite said, welcome to the Kiwi Road to Glory qualifiers. Before we get started, I'd like to give a big thank you to OzGamer for sponsoring us over at GameStar. There's some great servers they provide, and if you like their Facebook, they do some pretty good news articles as well. We'll go ahead and jump into the champion select here, Smite. I'm looking forward to this, the first game I've cast today, because I love casting the Kiwis because their junglers go crazy. They bully each other so much, and it's great to see the counter jungling and the mind games that go on, the chess game, if you will. So I'm looking forward to this.
It's funny that you say that as well, because in the games that we've cast today, we have seen junglers battle it out so much. And just to let you guys know which teams are playing in this match right now, we've got Villains over on the blue side, and these guys have been hyped up quite a bit in the Twitch chat. We've heard that a few people think that they are going to take out the whole tournament, so looking forward to seeing these guys' first cast of them today. And they're going to be playing up against JJN, who took out Mean Invites G in the last game with a nice solid win. And both teams looking very, very strong right now. It'll be interesting to see how they go in this match.
Yeah, well, the Tristana advantage already gone to JJN, so they've got a bit of an edge there. Although it's interesting, Smite, if you watch the NA and the EU LCS, Tristana is very highly valued, and for good reason. But over in Korea, she's actually more of a situational pick. It's much more of the Corki Lucian, so it's going to be interesting heading into Worlds and seeing if the Koreans can bully out the late game AD carries. But alas, we'll talk about what's going on in the champion select here. Syndra, Thresh, and Alistair banned out by the Villains, Lee Sin, Braum, and Kha'Zix by JJN. And the picks coming out, I'm excited to see the Jace, excited to see the Zac, actually. I'm assuming that's going top lane. And I'm wondering, has that been picked today?
Haven't seen a Zac just yet at all. The fact that Jace got picked up over on Villains is also taking away that champion from Hoon, who played it. There he is. Hoon played top lane Jace in the last matchup, and Villains have taken that away from him this game. So it may be that he's had to go to a different champion. With the Alistair banned out, Alistair with the recent nerfs, a little bit less strong in that top lane, but still definitely a massive bully. So it's looking like it is going to be a top lane Zac. So a bit off the wall pick, but nonetheless, we'll have to see how he proves us with how well that champion can be played. Also picking up Elise, taking that away from JJN.
Okay, so we'll have to see. No, the Evelyn won't be coming out. It's a Mumu. Elise definitely has the capability to bully a Mumu early on in this, but he will outscale her vastly going into the mid and late game, particularly with her Cocoon being a little bit skinnier, actually matching the particle. I'm wondering how this Zac's going to go, because he's very similar to Maokai in the sustain, the percentage damage, but instead of protecting his team with the Maelstrom, Zac's going to be able to pull out long-range initiation and provide more hard CC. Maokai's got a bunch of slows and a root and a slight knockback, whereas Zac definitely has more disruption. And the backline for Villains is looking quite squishy, so it's going to come down to the Stranglethorns of the Zyra to protect them from that one. And already the AoE from JJN is looking very scary indeed.
Every single champion on JJN actually really builds into the AoE composition, and then you've got Juan who can really just clean up and then go with the resets and take everything out. But that's really going to start building up in the team fighting phase. So the earliest they're really looking at getting a lot of power out of their composition is around the level 6 mark, where they might go for a dragon, force a dragon fight out early on, and then use the power of their ultimates comboing all together to really take an advantage as early as they can. But those guys are all in all definitely a late game composition, whereas you see villains, they can definitely ruin your day earlier on in the laning phase. Lucian against Trist is going to be a little bit rough. The Zyra is going to be a little bit counted out by Black Shield from Morgana, but those Black Shields need to be really on point, but most importantly, not wasted, because the seconds it's wasted and then on cooldown for the grasping roots, Lucian can capitalize on that so well, especially because Trist can't rocket jump out of that.
Yeah, definitely. Although if you do start the rocket jump, almost nothing will stop you. Trust me, you can tag her with CC and she'll still jump and then be CC'd at the end. Zyra's actually a really smart pick against the Morg because she has so much burst in her base damages that the Black Shield is almost guaranteed to go down within the first couple of seconds of application. Uh, and the plants do magic damage, so they'll be able to break it as well. Elise, of course, has big base damage as well, so Black Shield, as you say, is going to have to be absolutely on point here. The disengage for villains is going to be the most important moving into the team fights because of that AoE initiation and lockdown coming out of JJN. Jace is pretty good because of the acceleration gate. He can knock someone back with his baseball swing. Lucian, incredibly slippery because of his mobility. Maokai is actually really good for if, you know, you're hightailing it out of there. A lot less damage will be done to his team on the way out. And Zyra, one of the strongest counter initiates because of that grasping roots that we talked about. And the strangle thorns is so key to getting a fight into your control. So the villains, if they have control of the game, will be able to dictate the fights. But if they make a mistake, positional error, they're going to be punished very hard.
Yeah, absolutely capitalized on, but they have really tailored their team composition to deal with the power coming out from JJN. So I feel like they'll do pretty well on that, and it's really going to be up to the laning phase to see who gets the advantage first. And like I said before, JJN really want to go for that the earliest dragon fights they possibly can around level 6 when they've got all of their ultimates and really can start snowballing off of it from there, because they also want to make it to the late game. And if you look on villains, they don't have any mega assassins. The best they've got really for that would be Elise, but so many people just build that champion as a tanky magic damage dealer that you're not going to be taking out anyone very quickly with her. And so that really leaves Trist very, very free to roam around team fights, position as easy as Juan wants to. Combine that up with Black Shield and the peeling coming out from Soul Shackles, it's going to give Juan so much freedom in team fights.
They do have to be careful of the Jace, though, because the synergy between the Muramana and his W, I'm trying to remember what it's called, the range W where he shoots very quickly, he can burst someone down incredibly quick with that combo. So if the front line of the Mumu and the Zac is bypassed, Triss could be in some trouble, but it's going to come down to how the villains play. So yeah, like you say, Juan on the Tristana is going to have a lot of freedom in the fights if his front line can hold out. And I mean, they've got the shielding of Orianna and Morgana, so they're going to be incredibly durable. And they've got a lot of disruption. I mean, Amumu and Zac, not light on the CC at all.
The issue, though, is if Juan doesn't do very well in laning phase, if they start trying to force team fights when perhaps Tristana isn't at a peak, isn't doing very much damage at all, then it doesn't really matter how much freedom that Juan has, because they can just deal with the rest of the front line, take them out, and then move on to Trist. Now we're loaded into the Rift here, and both teams looking, actually, Villains looking to go for a spread out defense where JJN a lot more grouped together, and I think we saw them do an invade last time as well.
Yeah, their level 1 is incredibly strong. The Dark Binding of Morgana, the Bandage Toss of the Mumu, and then the Scouting Power of the Ball from Orianna. They've got a lot of control in these fights, and then of course they've got a number of auto attack modifiers with the Orianna Clockwork Wind-Up. Let's introduce the teams here, Smite, before potential action gets away. Oh, actually, we may not get the opportunity. It's interesting that the Morgana has gone for a very tanky mastery setup with the Runic Blessing. Normally you see a 9-0-21. Oh, Juan blows both of his summoners there, so that laning phase is going to be even rougher than we hypothesized. He didn't take the rock. Yeah, okay, so he leveled the explosive shot a little bit too early. and didn't sit on that point. So, representing Team Villains on the blue hand side, we have Dolphs as the Jungle Elise, PF Insane as the Zyro, the bot, joined by OMG Fudges as the Lucio, Dan Din, or PF Dan Dane, will
Dang,
be
dang.
Dane as the Maokai, and rounding them out, PF Pleasy as the Fancy Pants Jace in the mid.
And over on the red team, about to get invaded here. They do have vision of that ward though, but very, very quickly we've got X-Zones in the jungle on Amumu, Juan on Tristana, joined in the bot lane by Bang on Morgana, Hoon in the top lane with Zac, and Hong on Orianna in the mid lane. And now, something very important is going on here. Let's talk a bit about that.
Poor Amumu. There's not a lot he can do. We actually saw this in the Dignitas versus... who was it? I think PSM? Where the Amumu was played by Crumbs on Dignitas and got absolutely demolished by Kha'Zix early on. It's very difficult for him in the first couple of levels. He's not got the best dueling. As he gets up in levels, his burst actually becomes comparable, but this is definitely required from Villains to bully out that Amumu and not let him get an easy start. Because as we said, he vastly outscales Elise.
And contrary to what happens in a lot of top lanes, especially in the tanky top laners, Hoon and Dan Dane are going for a lot of fights here, really trying to hurt each other, but both of them have some pretty good regens, so it'll probably not go that far, but they're dropping pretty low here.
We've got to keep in mind that Zac will come back up in there. Just as he goes, he gets done by the burst of Maokai. The Twisted Advance was doing all the damage there, 10% of the max health. I don't think he can take down the blobs. Yeah, he does, actually, with the last back slap of his hand. And a little bit of a miscalculation from Hoon. Things not looking the best for JJN early on in the game now. And now Dolphs looks like he wants to start pushing with the range tag of Elise. And as I say that, he heads off into the jungle.
Of course, we did see the teleport coming up from Hoon, making him arrive back to the top lane really quickly. I'm not sure... Ooh, Fudge is actually dodging that Dark Binding there. I'm not sure what Hoon's plan was. Diving really hard onto that Maokai. Even with surviving from his passive, it wouldn't really have gained him much at all. But that's so important because not only does he not have his passive anymore, he died as well, giving up a kill. And that's going to make him so vulnerable to ganks coming out from Amumu, who is a little bit behind, could really use some free kills in the lanes. I mean, you look at him right now, he's only just hit level 3.
Yeah, and forced to go back, gets the quill cut. I don't think he can get boots as well. Yeah, he's going to get some consumables. Dolphs is... I don't think it was a 3 buff start. Wait, does Amumu have blue? No, it was a 3 buff start from Villains, so well played by them. It's exactly what they need to do with this early bully of Elise. And up at the top lane, what I'm thinking happened is most Maokais will start with a sapling toss and then get Arcane Smash at level 2. But Dan Dane, he actually started with Arcane Smash level 1 and then got the Twisted Advance, which means his dueling power is absolutely through the roof, whereas Zac, he relies on trading, but he got all in the mid lane. We've got Dolphs going in, actually gets counter-ganked by the Amumu. I think he will go down to the Ignite, he does indeed. And now Hong with the double buff Pleasy, he's going to flash away. Clockwork wind up, is it enough? They can't quite get up to finish the kill, but a quick turnaround there, Smite.
And Hong now has double buff, so he's got not only blue buff, which is massive on an Orianna so early into the game, but also red buff, and with the ranged auto attack and Pleasy really low already, that's so dangerous, but here comes the gank!
Dan Dane going to go in, starts the CC, and there is the chain. Pleasy going to be saying thank you very much. I'm not sure why Zounds didn't tell Hong to get back there, because Maokai ran right past the Mumu. So a bit of a miscommunication there, and that advantage completely gone. Unfortunate for JJN.
And Villains looking fairly strong right now. Kills across the board, and Dan moving up to the top lane, looking to get another one. Gonna get the slow from that sapling, but I feel like Zac's gonna get out of there.
Yeah, so the mana of Maokai not looking the best at the moment. Does he have enough for his Catalyst? Nope. Not quite. He needs another 600 or so. Lee's going to start trying to bully out Zounds. And does get hit by the Shock Blast Accelerate combo. And that will be Zounds going down to the Venomous Bite of Dolphs. As Hong is helpless to watch. So Villains starting to take control, which is a worry because their mid-game is extraordinary.
Yeah, Dan in the top lane.
Oh, Vengeful Maelstrom is going to turn that one around. And Hoon will be melting into the ground. He actually is leading in the CS, but he needs the Spectre's Cowl to be able to fight Dan at this point in time. He's going to come back with probably a Ruby and a Mana Crystal. Yeah, that is exactly what he grabs. Hopefully some wards. There he goes. And yeah, but Villains, the bottom lane is already Lucian double the CS of Tristana.
And you're so important, so right about the mid game being huge for Villains here. They're bullying Amumu out of his own jungle. Amumu, he's only had one buff, really struggling to even reach that level 6, and that's really crucial for an Amumu. You need to get level 6 to provide any real stable ganks, and like I said in Champions Select, they want to go for early team fights, and there's zero chance of them being able to do that if Amumu's not level 6.
Yeah, I mean, eventually he's going to get there, but he's opted to level up the bottom lane. Juan taking yet more poke under the tower. Zyra is so good at zoning out. But yeah, Amumu is eventually going to reach level 6, but he's... Oh, is she going to go down to the Ignite? I think she'll survive. Yep, 49 HP on that one. And Zyra going to continue to bully that out. Both of the bottom lane.
In the mid lane.
Okay, in the mid lane we got, yeah, Jace. Double buff going over to Amumu. That is almost a level 6 for him now. He's going to be very happy with that one. The assist gold going the way of JJN. So they come out a little bit better in that trade. And yeah, now he has the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Good catch there, Smite. I was looking at bot lane like, oh, they're going B when it's under their tower. That's a terrible situation.
In any case, though, yeah, there was a shockwave catching Pleasy out a little bit unawares, but luckily they did have the jungler nearby to capitalize on it. So they did pick up the return kill. And now, looking to maybe invade Amumu just a little bit harder. And this is just honestly cruel at this point. Invading Amumu, it's almost an unspoken rule, at least from earlier on in the game, before Spirit Stone existed. You took away Amumu's blue and he could do nothing. Although if you look at him, he's already he got the double buff back. Those buffs have been around for a long time.
Really made the rounds. Oh, Hong getting jumped on in the mid by Pleasy. The, what is that called? The Thundering Blow, which does a ridiculous amount of damage. Not going to take him down, but the red buff... Oh, did it actually get grabbed by Amumu? No.
Fudge's dropping pretty low in the bottom lane. He's going to get underneath his turret, throwing out the culling though, just clearing up some minions. Nothing else is going to follow up from that though.
Ooh, okay, so this is one of the strengths of Elise. That ranged auto attack means that she can push the towers a lot. Man, Zounds is just getting hunted down. Poor guy.
Yeah,
he's kind of getting away with this. I mean, he's got more CS than Elise, and one more assist as well. So he's actually doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, still managing to come in, but you've got to realize that a lot of those CS are probably the little creeps coming out from his jungle camps, but the Cocoon catching onto Juan, who rocket jumps away.
Yeah, he's going to get out of range of the Repel, who now requires at least the middle of her model rather than the edge, so it's a little bit less range. And like you said in the lobby, going to go straight for that dragon, capitalize on that percentage damage they've got, trying to juggle the aggro of the dragon, doing a great job at it actually. And Dan is even down here. He did use his TP to join this one. What about Hoon? He does have his TP available. I think he can go for his Spectre's Cowl now. He can indeed. But he's going to decide to keep pushing. So what are we thinking about these mid-game team fights that are going to come out soon? Sorry, as Zounds gets jumped on. He's going to try and flash away. Does have Curse of the Sad Mummy, but will get sped up by Hong. But now Hong is under fire. Just takes a all-in combo from Jace. At the bottom lane, AZ Bang throws out the exhaust, and oh my god, Fudges. And that may be enough for the time being to set that off. Juan does not have the ultimate buster shot. He does have heal, and the dive will be coming onto AZ. Not a lot he can do with the repel of Elise. And Dan going to twisted advance away from the tower. And I mean, I was talking about, oh, sorry, it's not over yet. Juan gets Grasping Roots up, heal, and flash used, and then a rocket jump. So using those summoners early on hasn't punished him too much, apart from getting zoned out in lane, which you could argue would have happened anyway. And I was going to talk about what's going to happen in these mid-game fights, but with the mid tower going down for our blue team villains, they've completely opened up this bottom side of the map, and look at the wards.
Yeah, and not to mention as well, because he's showing such a focus on denying X owns any of his own jungle, opening up the mid lane turret is so important. But here comes Hong, brilliant shockwave.
Yeah, risky. Oh, there's the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Hits all three of them. Dolph's going to jump onto Hong's and will get engaged upon by Maokai Zyra for Orianna thus far, which is a good trade for villains. Nice double shot from the Shock Blast of Please. He gets himself a double kill after the Zyra passive Rise of the Thorns gets them very low, and Villains are definitely taking control of this with a solid almost 7,000 gold lead, 3 towers to 0.
And Hoon actually using his teleport to get down there, but just too far and too late to provide anything to come back from that. So like you said, 7,000 gold lead over to Villains right now. They've got towers all across the map. Kill lead is quite successful here, especially on that Jace in the mid lane, and we've seen the ridiculous damage that he's been doing, and really on point with the Shock Blast as well, catching out that double kill in that team fight before. Pretty stylish, I have to say. And yeah, they're really looking to push their mid-game lead into an early win.
I'm not sure about Hong's item build. Like, I would have liked to see a Seeker's Arm Guard early on, and then maybe a Tear or a Morello Nomicon or something. He's gone for the Blasting Wand and the Fiendish Codex, so he's got a bit of oomph right now, but his core item's going to get delayed. Up at the top lane, Hoon has been jumped on by a couple of plants, so the plants versus the goo. Not going to work out in his favor. Still ahead on CS, but it means very little at this point. 303, Dane on the Maokai. And we saw the weakness of the comp of JJH in that last fight, Smite, where they're very much an all-in comp. They've got nothing else. They've got no split push. They've kind of got pick potential, but it's mainly in the team fights. And if they're behind, their comp offers very little.
Oh, and maybe getting an engaged on in here. Hoon going in though.
The ultimate for Zac is available. The bandage toss will miss him there. He goes, let's bounce, and the shockwave will take it down. Insane. And Dane can't do a whole heck of a lot. I think the Zac. No. Yes, it will take down Orianna. Zac passive is being popped. Zyra actually gets the kill with her plant, shooting out the last hit, and that will be Zac Bloblets going down. Pleasy on a killing spree. 1 for 3 at the top, and just extending. Down at the bottom lane, the Black Shield not needed as the Cocoon was dodged. Dolphs gets exhausted. That may be them getting out of there. Culling is available. Oh my god, Fudge is going to throw it out, doing a whole bunch of damage, going to flash over the Dark Binding, and that will be Juan going down. Fantastic play from our challenger AD carry.
Absolutely, Villains really looking so far ahead, and for good reason here. Winning fights on the top lane, pushing it down. Same story down on the bot lane, although they've got to get all the way to the inhibitor turret in the bot lane. Dragon is spawning up in 2 minutes, but there could be a fight in the top lane.
Curse of the Sad Mummy goes out. There is no shockwave for a little while. Please, he flashes away. Can he dodge the bandage toss? Has a low cooldown because he leveled it. Maokai goes down. Bandage toss is dodged. The Dolphs will throw out the Cocoon. They may turn this around onto the Umumu, who doesn't have very much health at all. Hoon comes in with the slingshot and the stretching strike to pick that one up, but at least will take down Zounds. Orianna will fall as well. And yeah, may have bitten off a little bit more there. Two Grasping Roots will get to the Q out of Lucian. The Piercing Light will snipe off the Zac. Juan jumps away. He's very low health. He does have the Summoner heal. The outrageous repel comes out of Dolphs, trying to chase down the just the Brown Boots Morgana, as Insane will flash, get the Grasping Roots, and Essence Reaver comes out on Pleasy as the Morg will fall.
I feel like, getting the Morg kill is all well and good, but they could have just gone ahead and taken the turret. But of course,
they're seeing red.
Well, why not? They did catch up to it in the end. Did have to blow a heal though, as Dolphs was dangerously low, almost dying to that tormented soil. But winning a brilliant team fight, even getting caught out of position in the top lane, and still able to turn it around. And you saw Pleasy just distracting the enemy team for so long, keeping Amumu busy, keeping Zac busy, and eventually going down. But JJN had to commit so much to actually catching him. And they still lost.
Then they overextended, bit off far more than they could chew. Look at the vision across the map for our blue team. The amount of pinks they've put down. They've got complete and utter vision control. Only a handful of JJH wards are down at the moment. Pleasy sitting next to the pink ward. Not sure why he's not taking it out. He decides that he'll leave it up for the time being. Juan narrowly dodges the Cocoon. Shock Blast does completely ignores Black Shield because, of course, it is physical damage. And what do our red team have to do here, Spike? What's the plan?
They've quite simply got to get a perfect team fight, and I know that sounds very, very obvious, but it's literally what they need to do. Short of Villains making crucial mistakes such as positioning, and
The Dragon is left on about 5 health as Elise started to walk away. Hoon gets engaged on in the mid. Dandine tanking up the tower for days. Stranglethorns will knock up the Zac, but Let's Bounce allows him the... does it still give CC reduction?
It did used to.
Not anymore. Removes all slows. Yeah, so he used to get like 90% tenacity during the Let's Bounce. They took that out. As the T2, this is the one of the last towers outside of JJH's base. Hong gets a nice shockwave, but is getting destroyed by the Infinity Edge Lucian. As Dark Binding will get Relentless pursued away from. And this aggression, I don't think it can continue for too much longer. But yeah, villains will back off and get themselves a red buff.
And they've got the option of just moving up to that top lane inner turret, because it's one of the easiest turrets to take in the game. You've got many options to flank around, but importantly, most of JJN just had to recall, and that's the only turret not left in the base, but they're opting not to go for it just yet, although Dolphs, he's looking pretty aggressive here.
Yeah, he's going to be taking away the golems now. I think he will get chased away from it. As the slingshot into the cocoon. Like you say, the Elise build's starting to fall off a little bit in its damage. As you have to admire JJH here. They're not sitting in their base passively trying to farm up, although the most important member is trying to do so, which is definitely fair enough. And they're trying to create pressure to allow him to do so, trying to establish some kind of control over the map around the Baron pit. As with the T2 at the bottom down, it's very vulnerable to getting pushed by the minions because the wave can build up very easily. So the Baron could be in trouble. Please going to be going in. Gets burst down quite a lot, but he will manage to get out. TP comes in from Danding. Insane going to snipe off the Mumu with the Q of Zyra, the Deadly Bloom. Hong will get sniped in the bush, and the passive Zac will be popped, and OMG Fudge is going to one-shot them with the crit rampage he is on. As at the bottom lane, JJH, can they get to the T2 in time to defend it? Not a chance.
No, absolutely not. And the fact that they've still got 2 members way down on that bot lane. Of course, they do need Juan to start farming up and being that dangerous AD carry, but right now, it's just at the point where defense of the turrets is the name of the game right now, and they're just not able to do it. They've got 3 turrets left, if you don't count the Nexus turrets. And they're looking to start pushing down the next one here, and this is going to be where it really matters, because once those inhibitor turrets go down, that's going to be Baron pressure that villains can easily apply.
We've got to keep in mind that the amount of AoE CC coming out from JJH is kind of ridiculous, and all of their ultimates are available, so diving this may not be the best idea, which is why, yeah, they're going to try and do some split pushing. Fudge is going to fall down, gets picked off by the Mumu and the Orianna, but Hong will trade his life for it. AZ Bang taking massive amount of damage from just the Zyra. And yeah, I mean, you can't really dive in a Mumu that easily, and Morgana, but you know, if the red team is split up, it'll be quite easy. Hoon going to go in, maybe a bit ill-advised. He does not have the cell division up, and that will be the T3 in the mid breached, as well as the inhibitor. If this was Dota, we'd say the high ground has been breached.
And they were taking down the racks, but fortunately we are playing LoL, and that inhibitor will go down. Of course, it will respawn in about 5 minutes, unlike the racks.
I think it's 4.
Is it 4?
Yeah, barracks never respawn.
Yeah, barracks
tons of fun to deal with that for the entire game.
Yeah, there was actually a bug with the new champion techies who came out, and you could like near the start of the game get to the wall of the base and throw bombs over and start taking out the racks straight away. And there wasn't anything anyone could do about it. Oh, and so you'd lose your racks like 3 minutes in. But let's get back to League.
Reminds me of Jaime in the beta. His grenade affected towers, and he outranged them, so he could right at the start run to the top lane and start throwing grenades.
I remember people blocking the mid minion wave with because he used to have like 5 turrets, I think.
And for some reason, the game says, "Oh, there's no minions in mid. Start spawning super minions."
Anyway, let's have a look at what's going on right now. Villain's going straight for this Baron, and with the super minion pressure in the mid lane, as well as the massive vision control they have around the area, then this Baron's going to be easy taking. Going down a bit slowly without their AD carry, but nonetheless, there's nothing that JJN can do about it.
No, yeah, that will be going down. Normally it'd be dangerous to do Baron against a comp like this, but with them being so far behind, they sacrifice the rest of their infrastructure if they try and contest this, so they wisely decide to stay back, deal with the super minions, try and get a... Actually, they do have the IE on Juan, but it is to the IE static shiv of the Lucian, who's going to be sitting on a bit of gold after that Baron. As, yeah, there's 1100 in his pocket. They're deciding to be aggressive with this Baron buff. Dan can easily go under the turret, even though he doesn't have the most armor at the moment. It will be the catch onto the red team, and the AoE is not going to be enough. It's like chaff for the wind, as a villain's going to be coming in. Hoon manages to let bounce away. Juan gets stunned, but still jumps to the fountain. 2 for O, and the tier 3 will be destroyed. GG called by Dan.
Yeah, and catching out Hong before he can even throw out a shockwave takes out so much from the AoE composition. And
the
now
animation even started. That's the same.
Yeah, there's nothing more depressing than that, but now Villain's just diving on everyone here. They can take down these Nexus turrets if they want to, but they want blood. They're going for the fountain kills, throwing out the culling, but I'm pretty sure they regen faster than the damage. Oh wow, look at that crit.
Oh, Shockwave will take down OMG Fudges. It finally gets used, but Zounds will trade his life for it. Pleasey just demolishing everything he sets his sights on. Insane going to take a binding. Juan going to take a cocoon. Elise going to jump up in the air, and the Nexus will fall. We will see Villains in the grand final against the winner of first place A and Small Apple.
Yeah, so don't go anywhere, guys. The grand final is a best of 3, and if for some reason you're living under a rock, don't know what the Road to Glory is, this is the qualifier for the Road to Glory. The winning team from the grand final moves on to that, moves on to the actual Road to Glory, which is a 32-team tournament between all the universities and net cafes around the Oceanic region, and the winning team from that moves into the Oceanic regional finals. And also the second place team can play off against the second place challenger team, and then they move into the last slot for the Oceanic regionals as well. So a lot on the line for the teams that will be playing off in the grand finals, but regardless, I believe we've got to wait a little while for the other match to finish, and then we can get into the grand finals. Best of 3, remember, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back very, very shortly.